The Power of the Spoken Word by Florence Scovel Shinn. These are my 2022 interpretations. As I've mentioned many times, I enjoy words, communication, public speaking, direct response marketing, copywriting, and fundamentally one of the reasons why is because ever since I was a teenager, I was fascinated by the power of words. We grew up listening to Tupac Shakur, and what I noticed is that in my high school, although there were different kids listening to different kinds of music, everybody would listen to Tupac. Seems that whatever genre of music you were interested in, he was the exception to the rule. And I was fascinated by this. I said, he had a way of expressing in communication. That which he reflected through his lyrics echoed in the minds of those that would listen. And still till this day, as I go back through his music, it seems to make even more sense. I understand it even more so. Now, Florence Scovel Shinn, she says, "We see children lovingly absorbed in their play. The great inventors are never bored with their work, or they would not bring forth great inventions." The way I like to look at it is speech is an expression of mind. That which we communicate, what we say, how we say, when we say, why we say, is a reflection of what's going on within ourselves, our state of consciousness. One looks at what's being communicated and it reveals what they are consciously and unconsciously saying, I am too. So thus we want to connect to what we truly love, finding what it is that we truly love and expressing what we truly love. We refer to this in alchemy as the great work and the expressions of it, be it communication or artistic expression, innovation. Actually, everything we do is a reflection from that premise. One of the reasons why I like revisiting Florence Scovel Shinn's work is the power of a few things that she talks about, which she emphasizes all throughout her books, further encourage the changes that occur within ourselves. As in, you go back to the book after applying the information to a degree, and it appears like a different book, such as the case with As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and the information that we've been studying from Neville's work. The way I like to work with the information is I like to take a few quotes and reflect upon it all week long. See how it plays out and what degree does it play out in the various things that I do. My entrepreneurial endeavors, my relationships, my communication, what I say when I talk to myself. By the way, I recommend watching that video, what we say when we talk to ourselves, because it's revealing what state of mind we're in. And we can switch our state of mind instantaneously just like that by changing our speech. So, intuition, she says, is a spiritual faculty above the intellect. It is the still, small voice, commonly called a hunch, which says, "This is the way, walk ye in it." I refer to intuition very often, for it is the most important part of spiritual development. So what I always aim for is, what do I intuitively love? As Steve Jobs said, and I bring this up in pretty much every video, follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you want to become. These are the inspired words of what was going on in his mind, which I know that he was looking to express to inspire the entrepreneurs that were going to use the very technology which we do today that he had put together to express our own creativity, be it through YouTube channels, TikTok, Instagram, blogs, whatever kind of platform that's available today. Think about this. Now more than ever before in history, it's easier, faster to get your message across. I've talked to many individuals. They put out a few videos, and their videos go viral. That which they have been saying, this is who I am. They allow that to express in their words, in their communication, and they attract those that are ready to receive that information. I always say student and teacher are one, and so thus those who express and allow intuition to guide them into that expression reveal it in those that are ready to receive that information, take it and apply it, and produce success, whatever shape or form. You determine what that means to you. which again keeps into consideration that we are the ones from within assigning meaning to words. For example, if I say the word money to one person, perhaps it stimulates their imagination to discover, or we could say reveal, because that's how it really is, what is already there within, which we've been referring to as acres of diamonds, which can be expressed in different creative expressions to create businesses, career pathways, etc. And this is all found by following the path of intuition, which she encourages all throughout her books, which is one of the reasons why I love and resonate with her work. She says, "This is true for an intuitive person. Every move is made under divine guidance, and he never violates a hunch. Therefore, he is always in the right place at the right time. However, it often takes courage to follow intuition." I like this. Steve Jobs said, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. Perhaps in the earlier stages it does. Because a person receives an intuitive nudge or inspiration within themselves, they want to move forward with it, and maybe they're identifying with certain thinking patterns in relation to themselves, in relation to others, information, environment, circumstance, etc., and they seem to be stuck. But the reality is that those are thinking patterns in mind, that which we unconsciously say, I am too. Then we can further encourage the intuition by saying, I realize I'm a divine guidance expression via my intuition. I find myself at the right place at the right time. Something like that. And so she says, it is heaven to be unafraid and to live fully in the now. I like that. It is heaven to be unafraid and to live fully in the now. And by fully, I realize that we all know what it means. And to the degree that we live by our intuition, we reveal it. She says that is to be fearless in using what we have, knowing back of us is the abundance of the spheres to draw upon. We know that fearless faith and the spoken word release this supply. I like that. As stated in the Hermetica, we were given two gifts. They were speech and mind. And it was said that they were equivalent to immortality. So let's reflect upon this again. We know that fearless faith and the spoken word releases the supply. Let's look at this. For many years, I would surround myself with some of the best copywriters in the world. At around 2015, 16, 17, 18, I had a rare opportunity to be around quite frequently Jay Abraham, supporting his live question and answer sessions. I got to sit in his private consults, and I would listen to what he was saying. I would observe how they would respond, and I would see how fast he would, lightning fast, he would come up with things to say, and their paradigm would shift just like that. Their perspectives would shift just like that. Instantaneously, with the precision of his words and the intent behind the words. Because he knows, and those that are students of copywriting or direct response marketing, consultative selling know, that choices of words stimulate the imagination in different ways. And a perfect example is this quote right here, which I love. It relates over to what we talked about on Tuesday in regards to resistance, falling in love with or making peace with the internal resistance, seeing it as our friend that propels us forward. As we continue to recognize that that's how it really is, we actually find ourselves automatically expressing. The person has a desire, I want to say something to someone. I want to put a message out there. I want to speak with this conviction. I want to express what is really going on within me in a different form of creative expression. In a creative expression that I really love, be it arts, entrepreneurship, communication, social media content, blogs. She says hindrances are friendly and obstacles stepping stones. One with God, you become invincible. This is a very powerful statement. God's invincible power sweeps all before it. I ride the waves into my promised land. Riding the waves, they take you to your destination, free from the undertow of negative thinking, which could pull you down. Your thoughts and desires are always taking you somewhere. See, we all have intuition. The question really is the degree in which we listen to our intuition. That's up to each individual to decide. And as she said, it could take courage. Perhaps in the earlier stages, a person is heavily identified with certain thinking patterns, which are not truly how they are. But working with the power of the subconscious mind, they're able to release, let go of those thinking patterns, which they have been unconsciously saying I am too, or subconsciously identifying with. And it seems to throttle the divine guidance, and that's the key word, seems. As she says, hindrances are friendly and obstacles stepping stones. Number two, let's talk about encouraging the true conversations. See, what I found by consciously over the years and continuously getting better at it with practice, and I trust that this is the case with you as well, of working with the two gifts of speech and mind, is that our inner conversations reveal, and they also stimulate at the same time, that which we say I am too, consciously, and it reflects, as we discussed in our Sunday's Neville Goddard video. I'll put a link in the description to it. I am is the reflection of affirmation in mind. I am reflects itself on the screen of space as the affirmation in mind. That which we say I am to in mind reflects itself. That which I am right now in imagination reflects, expresses as my behaviors and my words, my communication, how I relate to others, how they relate with me. And so thus she states, a person who knows the power of the word becomes very careful of his conversation. Now, this is not overthinking. We're talking about falling in love with our inner conversations. We're talking about careful inner conversations and conversations with others. I remember one time I had a conversation with Jay, and he was sharing some information with me in regards to a deal. And I recorded that conversation. But it was a 5-minute conversation. And he was saying, here's what to say. And I took that information and I followed his instruction. And also what I did is I took that information and I sat down there for hours playing it over and over and over and over again, looking to understand what did he mean by that? Why did he say that? Why did he choose this word? I took that same information and applied it to my consulting deals, and the sales went up. And it was a simple 5-minute conversation. And what I noticed is it's still unraveling every single day. I'm noticing that it has gotten to the point that we've been discussing in relation to our Neville Goddard conversations. People show up saying the exact same things that we're imagining. And so she says, a person who knows the power of the word becomes very careful of his conversation. He is only to watch the reaction of his words to know that they do not return void. And so she says, if you are in a negative state of mind, just take the statement, I look with wonder at that which is before me. It creates an expectancy of something wonderful. Reminds me of our ecstatic conversations in relation to Isn't It Wonderful, which I'll put a link in the description to that video, Neville Goddard conversation. Reflective of what Neville said, it creates an expectancy of something wonderful, and something wonderful will come to you, cultivating the feeling that miracles and wonders are coming to pass. Cultivate a success expectancy, the power behind the words, that which we say I am too, the meaning, the intent behind the words. She says, I look with wonder at that which is before me. Now, I don't know about you, but that's what I feel right now. And we know everything is happening now. How we relate to past, present, and future is now. She says it creates an expectancy of something wonderful, and something wonderful will come to you. Now, speaking about conversations, communication, let's talk about how we can work with this in relationship with others. And so she says, the law of laws is to do unto others as you would be done by. For whatever you send out comes back, and whatever you do to others will be done to you. Speaking about JJ would always say, ethically increase transactional value. I notice he wouldn't say increase transactional value. He would say ethically increase transactional value. That little bit of nuance right there is reflective, again, of another conversation, Neville Goddard conversation, in which we discussed the Dr. Millikan affirmation. I have a lavish, steady, dependable income consistent with mutual integrity and benefit. She says all life is vibration. You combine with what you notice, or you combine with what you vibrate to. If you are vibrating to injustice and resentment, you will meet it on your pathway at every step. You'll certainly think it is a hard world and everyone is against you. Now we see this in the conversations that we have with ourselves, in the conversations others have with themselves, and how they express it to others, how we express it to others. And upon reflection, I realized in my life there were times where I associated more so with everyone is against me. And I would see it play out as the theater. And as we had a conversation about in Sunday's video, which I'll put a link in the description too, people seem to now show up saying exactly what it is that I want them to say. But the reality is that they want to say the same thing, because we all want to represent each other from the true way of being, which are representations of love. And so she also brings up my absolute favorite passage of the Bible. So let's read it first and let's see how she reflects it. It states, Brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report. If there be any virtue and there be any praise, think on these things. She says, if people obeyed this, general conversation would come to a standstill for a while until people learn to talk about constructive things. See, the beautiful thing is that the words and how we say it, how we communicate, both verbally and non-verbally, is an expression of mind. And one of my favorite ways of working with Philippians 4:8 is to reflect upon my day. Maybe you have a journal and you have a conversation with yourself. Did I today represent others in a way that's true, lovely, good rapport? Reflecting it, as she says here, the law of laws is to do unto others as you would be done by. Law is love. What you send out comes back, and what you do unto others will be done to you. And thus love is the law. We want to live, communicate, express, be in a way that's symbolically representative of what we truly love. And others show up to play the theater, and the conversations that we have, the words that we speak when we communicate with each other are reflections of that, are bridging that communication together. It's felt because all subconscious minds are connected via the superconscious. So I trust you found my 2022 interpretations or reflections upon her work to be helpful on your journey. Let's go ahead and conclude this with an auto-suggestion to further encourage. You can say, I recognize by being lovingly absorbed in my play, I express via inner dialogue, intuitive inner conversations in my creative expressions, my arts, my innovation, my conversations with others. And I find that I already am an excellent communicator. I recognize this is being revealed more so in the conversations I have with myself, which reflects as conversations with others. I recognize that I have now identified with, to a deeper degree, to the still small voice which has become pronounced, allowing me to see perceived obstacles for how they truly are, stepping stones. I'm able to see this in my conversations, in leadership, personal life, friendships, business interactions, and all forms of communication with others and myself, realizing that conversations with others are reflections of what I say I am too, both consciously and unconsciously now, in imagination, which is representative of whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are lovely, as I feel my praise upon thinking upon these things, which expresses as loving, authentic communication. If you would like a copy of this mind map, the link is in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.